Hello, everyone. My name is Ajani Kalfani. Yes, it rhymes. I am the founder and CEO of Black Girls Lacks 2 Inc. I am from Brooklyn, New York. I currently reside in Baltimore, Maryland. And when I played lacrosse, keyword when, I was center midi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Asada Kafani. I am the president of Black Girls Lacks 2 Incorporated. I played lacrosse in high school at Frederick Douglass Academy in Harlem, New York, and I also played at Howard University, and I was attack midfield.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amira Shekels. I am the treasurer for Black Girls Lacks 2. I am from Seattle, Washington, where I played lacrosse in middle school and high school for Lakeside School. And I went on to play lacrosse at the illustrious Howard University. In middle school and high school, I played goalie. And then for most of my collegiate career, I played goalie as well. And then I transitioned to also play defense.
How y'all doing? My name is Jayana Baskin. I'm from Pleasantville, New Jersey. I have never played lacrosse. I don't know what a position is. However, I am the vice president. Black Girls Lacks 2 Incorporated, and I'm just glad to be here.
I decided to create the organization because I wasn't exposed to lacrosse until I was in the 10th grade. And from lacrosse, I was able to go to a New York statewide tournament. I was able to see girls from over. I saw my first hockey game. It exposed me to so much. And the fact that I've moved to Baltimore and Maryland is supposedly the sport was the official sport in 2020. I think it was 2004. Lacrosse was named the official sport of Maryland, and there are still enough black women. I can't even just say women, black people in general, both old and young, who still have not heard of the sport, don't know what it is, has never seen it. So when trying to recruit players, because I'm currently a volunteer coach, when trying to recruit players, I have to explain to them what the sport is before I can even try to do the recruitment part of it. So I just think it's fascinating, not even fascinating. I think it's undermining that we're not able to be exposed to this sport to the level that other races are. And I saw a gap, and I decided to be the one to fill it.
So I decided to join the organization, of course, to support my lovely sister, but also I played lacrosse too, and I just understand how much it helped me as a person grow as a professional and like personally. So I just want to give the opportunity to young women, young girls who love the game of lacrosse and don't have access to it, or they don't know yet how much this sport can change their lives literally. So I just want to, like you said, be the face that I didn't have growing up.
I only joined for similar reasons. I would say I grew up knowing what it felt like to be the only black girl on a lacrosse team, which was scary for a lot of reasons. It was really hard for a lot of reasons. But at the same time, lacrosse opened so many doors for me. I went and saw a World Cup. I went to Canada. I went on my first team trip. There are just so many things that lacrosse did for me that I want it to do for other people as well. I think exposure is necessary. I think representation is necessary. And I really like seeing someone's dream come to fruition. And I really wanted to support Johnny in pursuing this and doing something that's so big for so many people.
Definitely. For me, I think mine is a total opposite. I didn't come from a background dealing with nothing with lacrosse. But when I heard my friend's dream and her vision, I said, well, I got to be a part of it. Like, it was just more to lacrosse than me. I think you guys were opened up to lacrosse and got to see Canada and got to go to these different places. But just opening myself up to this organization, I've got to sit at board tables I would have never sat at. I got experience already in a little amount of time. I think I bring a lot of knowledge to it, but I think y'all have really educated me. So on the same path, we both are maneuvering each other, and it's going to be great. So I'm just proud to be here.
Same. I have a follow-up question to Jay. So when was the first time that you can honestly think of that you've heard or seen lacrosse?
We were in the dorm room and you had a weird looking stick.
College.
And then you used to be outside. I was like, what is this? And I never even Googled it. I never said, well, let me see what this is. But it wasn't until years later that I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, Sada played too. What? This back to
College.
the sport.
College, y'all. And that's what I'm trying to change. So, Amira, I know Sada and I both played on all black high schools teams, and Sada was able to play at Howard and HBCU, but you have the experience of being that token black girl, as they say. How was that experience?
Um, Very hard for a lot of reasons. I was the token black girl and the token native girl. So like anytime there were like cultural days when we were learning about where lacrosse came from, everyone would be like, and I'd be like, my people didn't play lacrosse, but yeah, my cousins, my cousins. It's really hard to feel like you hold so much responsibility to represent an entire people. It's also really isolating to feel like culturally there just are differences. Culturally, there are things that you do at home or with your friends or with your family that aren't being reflected. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can feel really lonely. And it can be really hard to hold your own in that. And I think, especially middle school and high school, I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to be like the other girls on the team. I just wanted to have the same things in common. I wanted to have the same background. And so I ended up hiding a lot of myself. And I ended up feeling ashamed of a lot of myself. And it wasn't until I ended up playing lacrosse at Howard University, the illustrious HBCU, that I was able to flip that narrative and see that lacrosse is more than just this sport that rich white girls play. Because that really was my perception.
I think the relationship between black and indigenous there is definitely a disconnect. I kind of have the school system to fault for that, just because the history that's taught in schools, one, they're a lie, just straight up, and then two, I just don't think they show the true narrative of the history and the story behind the indigenous people and their culture. Um, and I think the relationship has to be better mended. Yes, is the correct word. Um, just so black people understand more, and then hopefully that will develop a better community between the two.
I think it's a really tricky question for a lot of reasons. One, I think it's tricky because both Black people and Indigenous people suffer from the same systems that oppress people of color in a lot of the same ways. I also think that they both suffer from erasure. And it's easy to forget about what's happening when it's not in the history books, when it's not being taught in class, when it's not being told. And it's interesting because there is an extensive history of Black and Indigenous peoples working together in the name of resistance, but we don't read about it. We are not exposed to it. We don't have exposure to that history. We don't have awareness of that history, of the ways in which certain Black communities and certain Indigenous communities have worked together really well, to the point where they're so merged and blended that there is no separating the two. In the same thread, I do think there's a disconnect because it's easy to continue to disenfranchise people when you separate them and when you make them feel like there's no community. But it's weird because Black culture and Indigenous culture is so similar in the sense that we thrive in community, we seek community, the way that we uphold community, the way that we gather in ceremony. And so it's so interesting that there's a disconnect because there are so many similar, I guess, traditions and beliefs and just ways of living. And it's frustrating that it's not more known or it's not more prevalent or it's not more promoted. Because honestly, I think if Black people and Indigenous people, decided to foster community in a huge way, we know the land, we know we could really just reframe the way America runs, and I think it would be very beautiful. But yeah, I would agree. I think that there's just not enough exposure. I think that it's also hard because Indigenous culture is so varied. Black culture is so varied. Everyone's relationship to the land is so varied. It's different. It depends on where you are. It depends on who you're talking to. It depends on your history. It depends on so many things, and I think all of those things continue to be just like watered down in history, and so it's really hard to foster community in the circumstances that we're in.
Absolutely. So piggyback on what you said, I think that it did start with the school system. However, we at this day and age that we can't keep blaming the school system, because if you think about society in itself, they want to separate us because together we are unbeatable. And if the blacks and the indigenous or the colored or the immigrant, if we all really stick together, we can really change some things.
Yeah.
And the fact that we looking back at school and the history and we're basically giving them what they want separate. Oh, blacks over here. Oh, indigenous over here. Oh, Mexicans come. Oh, no. But if we all really come together because we thrive and we know the land and we know how it is to be impoverished and below. But if we really take everything that we know with each other and come together, we can bridge that gap. Because right now we're really separate. We're not sticking together. We don't have the community that we need because we're all competing with each other. But in fact, if we looked at our similarities, we're neck and neck. Nobody's winning, nobody's losing. We're really neck and neck. So if we really educated people more, like platforms like this, we could really be unstoppable.
I second that. Next question. So I was thinking lacrosse has such a great story, but not a lot of people, of course, know the story. What is the face that you would say? What is the face of lacrosse? Who is the face of lacrosse? I already have my face, but I don't want to put that on you guys. We probably have the same face. But what is the face that you see of lacrosse?
Upper echelon of the white folk.
Yeah.
Okay, we have the same face. Plain and simple. And I find that to be heartbreaking because lacrosse is said to be like one of the only non-European influenced sports. And yet nobody really knows it, especially within the Black community. And that speaks volumes. Like, let's be honest. Have you guys ever played cricket?
No.
No.
Rugby.
You've no, but you've even heard of rugby, right?
Yeah, I've never played it.
Or never played it, but you've heard of it. There are probably so many sports that I've never played of, and I've heard of it. Lacrosse wasn't one of them. Before 10th grade, I've never heard of it, never played it. So I think it's being hidden. I don't know why or who, but I feel like it's being hidden within the Black community. And they can say, we don't have the resources for it, but even that, it's not known to us, even just from word of mouth. So we don't need resources to hear about it and to learn about it. We don't. It's not being spread, and I think that's interesting. There was no real question.
No, but I can build on that. I agree. And when we were at Howard, anytime the athletic department faced any kind of like financial, I guess not like crisis, but anytime they were like, oh, like any budget cuts, any type of anything, the whispers would be they're gonna cut the lacrosse program, they're gonna cut the lacrosse team, because you only ever hear about how expensive it is, you only ever hear about how we're an expense and y'all cost so much and you have to do this and you have to do that. And so I think even at the collegiate level, a D1 team, and we're one of two HBCUs with a Division I Black.
What's the other one? I thought you guys were the only one.
State.
Are they D1?
Yeah.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, those are the only two HBCUs with a Division I women's lacrosse program. I can't speak for the men's lacrosse programs, but I feel like every year there was a looming threat, that they were going to cut our program, and that's not fair to the people who have played their whole lives, and then there's this promise that you can play in college, and then the potential of being able to play when you go on, just to have someone say, oh yeah, like y'all not making it.
We ain't got it.
Yeah, no.
Definitely the first to go.
Yes.
So I feel like so even at the collegiate level, lacrosse wasn't important. So, and we did an alumni thing for our high school, and they learned about lacrosse. They were upstate New York, and they said the lacrosse team was the basically like the big dogs on campus. Like they outranked football. They outranked
like the Jocks.
yeah, they in New York, upstate New York though. Like lacrosse, lacrosse ran the show.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but we got to bring it here to our high school because, and that's based off a college tour. We were exposed to that at the collegiate level to be like, yeah, I think we should bring it here. So just to see that there are schools, and it was a predominantly white school. So it was a predominantly white school. So of course I don't think this day and age you won't see lacrosse running the show, but it was just so proud.
He was an 05 graduate, so that was more than 25 years ago. I mean, 20 years ago.
Relax one and done.
But I'm just saying, like, how far that was and, like, how much more time. Like, we have so more or less.
We have so much work to do.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of people. And I just remember being on the train stations. They would say, what is that? A guitar? Mm-hmm. Just like Jay said in college. This weird stick. What are you doing with it? It's
in Brooklyn and Harlem, they had no clue
whatsoever. Like, why would you even pick that stick up? Right. And I feel like the older generation can't even pass down that knowledge.
So, question to y'all: what made y'all pick it up? You in New York?
I will second. You
never heard of it. What made you say, "Oh, it's me"?
I'm not gonna lie. So I was on a soccer team. I was on a co-ed soccer team, and the boys would just be like, every time I got the ball, kick the ball out. Just like they didn't trust me with the ball. All right, cool. I tried softball. They wanted me to do 2 a days, wake up really early. We had an hour train ride. I couldn't do softball. Volleyball, I couldn't serve to save my life. And I'm an athletic person, but I didn't find a sport that I was good at. And then I'm at my 10th grade year. I'm at I'm about to say the living room. I'm at my lunch table, and there's very few girls on the lacrosse team. I didn't even know my school had a lacrosse team, and this is my second year there. And the coach came to me, hey, you want to play lacrosse? Man, what is that? Man, what are you talking about?
She was.
Mm-hmm. That's my baby now. She's one of those I don't play with.
It goes to show.
It goes to show. Actually, just to shout her out, she was one of the seniors who won, I think, the 2002 or 2005 Northwestern Division I NCAA championships. It was Northwestern's very first lacrosse women's championship, and now I think they hold the second most collegiate women's championships. University of Maryland is first.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They hold the most. University of Maryland. Wow. And we're supposedly a lacrosse state. Nobody knows. But yeah, she came and was like, do you want to play lacrosse? I don't know what that is. And I tried it. I fell in love with it. I got to the point where I'm on Saturdays, like doing it just to practice. And my dad was like, listen, I don't know nothing about lacrosse, but I'll learn for you. Mm-hmm. And he was out there with me trying to figure it out. And mind you, this is New York City. So we had
the alleys.
The brick wall, the handball court, we're running plays on concrete, y'all. Like it was that serious, but I fell in love with it. And through her, she's the one who opened the doors for me. She allowed me, I called her my mother and she would always be like, well, what does your black mother think about you calling me that? But she opened the doors for me. I was able to speak for the public school athletic league to represent lacrosse, and there's funding. Through her, I was able to represent New York City in a New York statewide tournament playing lacrosse. She's the one who actually got me a scholarship to play lacrosse for college that I regrettably turned down. But my co-captain, she took the scholarship. It was in Chicago. But it was from my coach. She needed more girls, and she needed more girls, and I was like, okay, I'll play. And then I fell in love with it.
My story was a little different. I was in middle school, and me and my friends loved playing handball. That's just some New York fun thing to do when you're at recess.
You hit it against the wall.
Yeah, it's like the blue ball
I
you
about to
hit
say with your hand.
with your hand. It's a handball.
But the same ball.
No, it's a different ball. It's like a bouncy ball. It's
went to
blue
that
and it's
lacrosse ball.
bouncy. Yeah. It's bouncy and it's handball. So I was a freshman in high school. My sister was a senior in high school, and I went to my high school and they had a handball team.
What?
That does not happen often. So I said, I gotta play handball, of course, because like, what New York City team has a handball team? I was honestly shocked that they had one, and I said, "Oh, this is my time to shine." And my sister said, "You're not playing handball. Who plays handball?
So you grow up.
That's crazy." Yeah. So she's like, "I've been playing lacrosse." So
And I was captain at
and
this
she was
time.
captain at this time. She definitely got better. She was like amazing. She was like, "You're gonna play lacrosse," and I'm like, "What's lacrosse?" Um,
Mind you, I've been playing for at least 3 years now.
Yeah.
And my sister.
I was living my best life in middle school. I honestly paid no mind to that. But when I finally got to high school, she said, "You're playing lacrosse," and I said, "Okay, okay." So I played lacrosse, and just like her, I fell in love with the sport. It was definitely a challenge for me, but I like that. I always love a good challenge. So as I grew to get better with the sport, I grew to love it, and that's my origin story of finding and falling in love with lacrosse.
So I started playing lacrosse in 6th grade. I went to a private school for 5th grade through 12th grade. My 5th grade year was a struggle, big adjustment, big adjustment. And I got really close to the family and life support director, who also happened to coach the lacrosse team. And I'm not kidding when I say she saved my life. It was actually her birthday a couple days ago. I just wish happy birthday. Yes, my coach Jamie Asaka. I'm gonna name drop her because. But I remember in 5th grade, she was like, I see you're playing these sports. The lacrosse team starts. Could we play in 5th grade? We might have been. Could we play in 5th grade? No. They had lacrosse for 6th grade only. So I couldn't play in 5th grade, but then starting in 6th grade, she said, "You're going to play lacrosse." And I was like, I don't like the goggles. And she was like, "No, you're going to play lacrosse." I said, I don't like the sticks. She said, "You're going to play lacrosse." I said,
The uniforms.
Yeah. No, because there were skirts. We had these skirts. Not just skirts. Our skirts were literal kilts. They wrapped around and they were maroon plaid. I said, absolutely not. She said, "You're going to play lacrosse." And then I played lacrosse. I played lacrosse. And since then, like, she forced me to play. And, well, I'm not going to say she forced me to play. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. Turns out I was, like, pretty good at it. Made varsity my freshman year. She was sitting in office hours in my statistics class with me. To make sure that I was still academically eligible to play. And it was just lacrosse since. Got me on a, a club team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she told me I was going to play lacrosse. I play lacrosse.
And who was she?
She's Asian American.
Okay.
Yeah, and she had gone to the same private school when she was a kid. She knew it. Yes.
Okay. Oh, so she's living it.
Yeah, she knew what it was like, and she said, "Okay, you're going to play lacrosse." Because it's hard. Socially, it was hard. Emotionally, it was hard. Academically, it was hard. Yeah, so.
I think, Amara, I've never played with you. I think we need to play a pickup game.
Oh my